piano is a technical skill and it's not easy. I wasn't born playing piano. I had to learn it, and when I was learning it, I had a great teacher. Not just one, quite a few, but the one that I'm gonna talk about, she used some principles and ideas of behaviorism. And today we're gonna talk about behaviorism and how I learned to play piano. I'm not brilliant. I can play, I can read sheet music, and I can still refresh my skills if I want to. So what I've learned, I still have, and I still can do. Theory, according to Nolan and Raban, is a group of ideas that explain a certain topic within the domain of children's learning and development. In other words, a theory might be also explained as a series of statements about learning, as discussed by Hoffnung and Hoffnung, 2005. Behaviorism as a theory looks closely at behavior, and behavior that is observed. So with playing piano, we can see that I'm sitting at the piano and I'm playing. So my behavior is observing. I'm pushing the keys and I perform something. I play music, I read the notes. So all this is behavior. And our learning is happening through conditioning. It might be classical conditioning developed by Pavlov, and it might be operant conditioning developed by Skinner. Also, part of behaviorism is social learning theory of Bandura, which is all about role modeling. So I would say that my teacher used all these three types of teaching, and she was informed by behaviorism in her approaches to teaching her students. So behaviorism views knowledge child and the role of adults differently compared to other theories. Knowledge is viewed as something that you pass on, that exists, so you pass it on to the student. So for example, my music teacher, she was trained at university to be able to teach at music primary school. And she was passing on this information to me in small chunks. For example, she would show me how to play like C major. And it would be only one octave. So I go home and I will learn this piece. Yes, so this chunk of learning. So once I will learn it, she will introduce me something a little bit more complex. For example, 2 octaves. And so on. So the complexity would develop, and I will be reinforced for correct learning, yeah, and correct performance skills. Also, child is viewed from behaviorism point of view as moldable, someone who can be shaped or conditioned. And environment influences this child. The role of adults is shaping child's behavior, like my teacher did. So she was saying, well done, good work, not so good today, did you study at all? And this would reinforce my learning. Some examples of behavior that she wanted me to perform: come to class on time, practice my scales and do my homework, listen to my teacher carefully and follow the instructions, and learn my pieces. So sometimes I didn't perform this behavior and it wasn't observable. So she would say yes and yay and well done and good girl when I was performing this behavior, and when I wasn't, she would say something like give me some feedback on how I can improve, and probably show it again, so do the role modeling, and we will repeat the small pieces that I already learned, and we will work on hard bits that I'm struggling with. So this is behaviorism in action. Of course, I had grades as well in music school, and if I performed well, I would get A or A plus, and if I perform not so well, I would get something different. So looking at this example from my practice and my learning experience, you can see that the learning was teacher directed. So every lesson I would play, but I would repeat after my teacher. So my teacher would play a piece and I would repeat after her, or I will play something, then she will give me feedback. She structured lessons in a way she wanted. I had no choice. So I had to come to class and I had to listen to my teacher. So it was teacher directed. Learning was considered as social or physical conditioning. Educator used rewards and reinforcements, both direct and indirect. Also, she was focused on managing my observable behavior. Raban 2015. There are some strengths and limitations of this theory. It sounds like it was working for me, and it still works for many, many children who are learning to play piano. Not just children, grown-ups as well. So let's have a look at some strengths and weaknesses. So some strengths of behaviorism include that it helps children to learn, and it is effective for simple concepts and for some complex concepts introduced by chunks, or step by step. It is very effective for teaching skills. So piano requires a lot of technical skills, and behaviorism works well for this one. Also, some examples would be writing, counting, and other things. ABC is also quite good thing that is grounded in behaviorism. So it is a behavior guidance or behavior analysis as such. So that helps to support children with behavior problems and autism and other additional needs. Rewards, like they are working well for younger children. They also work well for older children, but that's time for us to move on to the negative side and talk about the limitations. Although it does work, sometimes what happens, child getting used to praise and rewards, and it's not rewarding anymore, and it's not motivating. So it's an extrinsic motivation, not intrinsic motivation. So something that is coming from outside. So child is passive learner. Yes, so in classical conditioning, so by Pavlov. However, Skinner looked at child being an active learner who is involved. Child is not as active, and learning is not self-directed as in social constructivism or cognitivism, for example. Behaviorism also did not recognize the role of mental process in learning. How did I think about music? How did I process my information? So they didn't pay attention to it. It was only about behavior. So basically me playing my scales and pieces right. So what was not observed was not important. And that's a limitation of behaviorism. Too much focus on teacher-led activities. So that's a disadvantage because 21st century learner is viewed as a child who's got rights, and he's a confident learner, and all of us, we have predispositions to learning, and behaviorism unfortunately views us just as an object of learning, not a subject. Some applications. I used behaviorism in my practice as well. I use star charts for my son, for kindergarten children, for school-age children, because rewards like stars and stickers, they do work well. I did withdraw some privileges from my son, not so much from the children, but I remember some bad days at kindergarten rooms where I had to say that probably I have to remove this toy because you're not playing with it properly. So that's a withdrawal of privileges and punishment. I used negative reinforcement for my son. When he was, let's say, doing his homework quite well, he didn't like handwritten pieces and stories, and he didn't like writing. So I would try to motivate him by saying that you don't need to take the rubbish bins out today if you would finish your homework on time. I use repetition, so that's rote learning. I used praise a lot, and I used to break down the activities so children will understand them better. It is specifically important for children who are young, like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. So they're still at this stage of development where they need some guidance, a lot of guidance. And of course, I used some ideas of Skinner, B.F. Skinner. So I clearly talked about what we are going to learn today. So child will be, somewhat involved. And I did a lot of role modeling, which is part of social learning theory of Bandura, which is also related to behaviorism. So that's all for today. So that's my video response. Guys, it was a little bit long, I'm sorry. But I wanted to try to present your response in the same way so you can practice presentation. I had to pause and stop this video and redo it like 5 or 6 times. So you probably have to do the same with your video presentations. Tell me how you go, and I'm looking forward to your video presentations. Bye.